Morning, this is Tuscarora. We're going to be talking about safety today. So first I'd like you to click on the safety song, and then after you watch the safety song, move on to the next video. So you should have your guided notes before you start, and it should have the chemical acetone. It's called a safety data sheet attached, and you can pause and watch this video as many times as you want. All right, personal protective equipment. Many states require by law that we use safety goggles, and we must wear safety goggles at all times in the lab when dealing with chemicals or fire. If you do not wear your safety goggles, then I will require you to sit down and not get credit for the lab. Proper attire means that we don't wear floppy garments because your shirts could tangle and then get in the equipment and cause accidents. So in order to prevent that, we would wear rubber bands around our floppy garments or our sleeves. Hairstyles, you have to wear your hair back. It cannot be stylish. If I think it's not tight enough, I will tell you, and you will have to tie it back tighter. Hair goes up really fast if it catches on fire, so we don't want that. Proper attire. So you must wear closed-toed shoes at all times. Lab aprons also must be worn if we're dealing with chemicals or anything that is could be a problem. Safety equipment, there's a fire extinguisher in the front of the classroom. So you just need to tell me and I will take care of it if there happens to be a fire, but hopefully we will never have that problem. Fire blanket is located in the back of the classroom. It's under the goggle cabinet. So what you would do is yank the blanket out of the wall holder, wrap it around the victim to smother the fire. Eye wash fountain. So if you get something in your eye, get it out immediately. Do not wait till the next class. So what you would do is retract your eyelid, which means pull back your eyelid, run fresh water in your eye for 15 minutes, and then go to the nurse. So with most chemicals, if you get them on your skin, you would want to rinse, rinse, rinse for 15 minutes and then soap and water. So in order to see what could happen, click on the where it says fabric, and then you should be able to watch what can happen to something if you get it on fabric. Safety equipment. First aid kit is only for small injuries. I keep band-aids on hand, but if there is a lot of blood, stay away from it because of blood-borne pathogens, and I will send you to the nurse if there is a lot of blood. Fume hood. Fume hood is only for reactions that give off vapors, not for chemical storage. You will see me, though, during a lab. That is where I put the chemicals that are going to be used for lab because it's the easiest place to put them, and I can close the door to it. But it's really for smelling chemical reactions. Safety equipment. Also safety showers. We don't generally have a problem with that, but if there was a massive spill, you would pull on the circle and the water would come all over you. Broken glass, tell me right away. I will clean it up. I don't want you to get cut. We'll sweep it up and we put it in. It's called a white box. It's a sharps container. Safety data sheets. So you should have a safety data sheet attached to your notes. When a chemical is purchased, we get what we call a safety data sheet. It tells us all about the known dangers, the lethal dose, the cleanup. You do not need to memorize these, but you do need to know how to use it. So we keep a file of all that. So acetone is our example. So in section 2, if you look in section 2, hazards identification, it's highly flammable, can cause serious eye damage and organ toxicity. If you go to section 3, you have what's called a CAF number, formula, and formula weight. Section 4, look for that. It's on the first page. It will tell you first aid measures. Some examples: if inhaled, remove victim to fresh air. If in eyes, rinse continuously with water. If on skin, wash with plenty of water. Section 7. So it's going to tell us how to handle and store acetone. Basically what it says is that store in organic number 4, store with ethers, ketones, and halogenated hydrocarbons. Store in a flammable cabinet. Does anybody know what acetone is? Acetone is actually fingernail polish remover. Section 9 has our physical and chemical properties. So some physical properties are like boiling point, density, melting point. And then you go to section 11, it's going to give us toxicological information. It's going to tell us about lethal dose, inhalation, and skin exposure. Chemical usage. Double check your labels on the chemical bottles. Take only as much as you need and never return unused chemical to their original containers. Reason being, if I could contaminate it so it would not be usable, or in the worst case scenario, it would cause a chemical reaction or a fire. Student use in the laboratory. No unauthorized experiments. I try to give the experiment the day before. No eating or drinking in the lab. No playing around. So don't drink from the lab equipment because it could be contaminated and poisoned. Even the water. So we never even drink the distilled water. Tasting of odors. Do not smell the flask directly. We waft it with your hand. So if you're really that curious about the odor. Handling of hot glass. Do not handle hot glass. That's probably the most common accident we have because cold glass looks like hot glass. Heating of test tubes. Never put a test tube with a reaction towards you or your neighbor or your lab partner. It may splatter out, hit you in the face. Do not stopper a test tube, meaning don't put a rubber stopper in the top of the test tube because it could explode. Handling acids and water. Do not add water to acid. It's always acid to water. We remember this by A&W root beer. What happens, it heats up and will splatter and into your face. Always try to read the procedure before, not as you do labs, because accidents happen if you do not read it beforehand. Bunsen burner usage. Both hoses need to be firmly attached. Air valve should be open. Generally don't have any screws on these Bunsen burners in this class. Avoid horseplay. Absolutely no horseplay. If you fool around lab, I will sit you out and write you up. You will receive a 0 for the lab and not be able to make it up. So we'll have a safe year if you abide by all the rules.